Your new book is about helping people figure out what they really want to do with their lives and how to get there. So how did you go from your work at the NAACP to being, I gather, a youth minister and then a journalist and now TV host, documentary filmmaker, and now author? That's a lot of changes. Is there a thread that runs through all of it?
The thread is being open to what I believe the call on your life sets you up for opportunities. And, you know, that for me, it's really been about how can I give people information, empower them with that information, and let them know that their current condition doesn't have to be where they end up. That's the thread. And so as an activist, I was doing that. As a youth pastor, not just from a spiritual but a practical sense, was doing that with young people in Baltimore, and all the way to this book, which is really about, regardless of what age you are, understanding that you can be a whole person. And that whole person means that I have to accept not just the professional that I am, but the father or the husband or the friend or the community member, for that matter. And we talk about that in the book. But it's funny, the TV thing is a little different, because you don't get on TV because you want to be. And I didn't want to be.
You got to want to be, because it's so competitive. But everybody else wants to be.
And I didn't want to be. I had no desire to be on television at all. I never did a reel. I never did an audition. I was doing some consulting with Russell Simmons, and was sitting around in an office with some friends having lunch when somebody brings up Stephen Hill's name, who's an executive at BET. Said that my name had come up in a conversation and that I should reach out to him. So I sent him an email, say, hey, mutual friend said my name came up. Why don't we have lunch? I'm really not even thinking about what this guy does.
You know you got something going when the networks come to you.
I talk about that in the book when I say you are not your parents, in just the second chapter. And we talk about quicksand, and we talk about inherited quicksand. And that inherited quicksand is if your parents were on drugs, if they were just neglectful, if they were not there, the school, the community. And I think Obama had it right. It's that, yes, this stuff affects your reality, but it doesn't have to define your reality. And so, sure, we all got stuff we have to deal with. But if you really want to make your life what it can be, you have to decide to do it. And I'm so glad that the president didn't allow them to get off easy and say that because of a bad environment or parents that may not have done what they had to do, that means your life is over. Because they hear that too many places, and as a result of it, they cop out and are comfortable being mediocre. And we can't afford that. We've got to accept the fact that the young people who are in America, despite, I think, what any of us can argue about how effective our public schools are or are not, have opportunities that young people in other parts of the world just don't have. And so there is something about being an American that allows you to do things that kids who are in Zimbabwe or Tanzania or Chile or somewhere else in the world, no matter what socioeconomic status they have, just can't do. And our kids need to understand that, embrace it, become a part of this country that's great, challenge what they don't like, but utilize what they have in their hands.
So you mentioned all those other places with less opportunity and flexibility. And this summer, you traveled to the Kurdistan region of northern Iraq, the other Iraq, as you call it, to make a documentary. Why Kurdistan? That's a very different beat from what you've been talking about so far.
Well, it's in line that the thread is social justice. And as I was paying attention to the fact that we were leaving, pulling our troops out of Iraq, here's a group that fought alongside of our soldiers. The Peshmerga, which are the Kurdish forces, fought alongside American soldiers. These were a people who 182,000 of them got gassed by Saddam. And of 3,500 villages, Saddam of 4,000 villages, Saddam destroyed 3,500 of them. That's a social justice issue. And I just felt it was a story that wasn't being told. I mean, the Kurds are the largest ethnic group in the world with no homeland. So it was consistent with the social justice piece for me. And even in the book, when I talk about, breaking down walls, I wanted to go beyond the stuff that I had normally been talking about. And it was an amazing experience.
And I read that your crew is made up of 4 African-American men and that the dreadlocks caused a big stir. What was that like in Iraq?
Well, for the first week I was there, most people thought I was a Brazilian soccer player. So I was signing autographs, taking pictures, and there's not a whole lot of exposure to African Americans, but there's so much related culture. I mean, I was telling a friend just 2 days ago, my first day there, I was sitting around in a room with some 50-year-old plus Kurdish men playing dominoes, eating watermelon and sunflower seeds. And that's a scene that I've had with my own family in Georgia. And so these cultural kind of connections, I think, were really powerful. Even though there's a curiosity, they don't see African Americans very often, there was a great deal of connectivity, and they were incredibly hospitable and warm people.